Good evening and welcome to the October 14th meeting of the Zoning Design and Review Board. Shall we start call this meeting to order and roll call?
Member Cook.
Here.
Member James.
Here.
Member Laz.
Here.
Chair Durham.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Vice Chair Scoggins is absent.
All right. And we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll move to number 3 with an adoption of the agenda. Also, for item 7.1, design review for R&D Kitchen, the applicant has asked for a continuation, so that will not be discussed this evening. Any other comments or concerns about the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nope.
Aye.
Yeah. Very good.
It works.
And then we have the minutes from the last 3 meetings. Did everybody get a chance to go over those?
Yes.
Including the blank page. Thank you.
Yes.
Wanted to go include that.
Thank you. Thank you. All the notes. Thank you. Any questions or concerns on those?
No, I move that we approve.
A second?
I'd like to
Yep.
suggest an
Oh,
amended
okay.
motion which carves out the meeting minutes of July 14th. As I was absent, I won't vote there.
Very good. Thank you. So the other July 14th and September 9th, motion to approve those.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. And then for July 8th, we'll make a motion to
14th.
approve.
July 14th.
14th, thank you. Make a motion to approve those.
I wasn't there.
Thank
I just
you.
realized that.
Thank you. Commissioner, oh, it had to be. Good. You were there.
I make a motion to approve.
Very good. And it's unanimous? We approve those? Very good. I'll speak for her on this one. All right, no public comment for number 5, consent calendar, none. And that'll move us into 8.1, revisions to Yountville Municipal Code for the tree protection ordinances. Sandra?
That'll actually be me.
Oh, sorry.
So, in recent months, as you may be aware, town staff has experienced a larger than normal request for tree removal permits. And staff has had, due to this increased number of permit requests, staff has had multiple opportunities to review our existing tree protection ordinances as they stand now in the municipal code. And while we're reviewing this, staff has been able to notice a few areas and instances of omission and inconsistency that we feel would be now appropriate to clean up, if you will. And the 3 major sections that staff is now requesting feedback on is section 12.16, which relates to town trees, 17.96, that is focused on open space, and 17.98, which is a new section that will be dedicated solely for tree preservation and maintenance. Now, to go just section by section, 12.16, as it stands now, is a little bit vague as it refers to the maintenance and protection of private trees as well as public trees. Staff has removed the references to private trees and relocated it to this new section, 17.98. And so as it stands on this edited version that we've provided you with, it's really now just town trees or trees that are on public land overhanging a right-of-way. In 17.96, it originally had information regarding open space and trees. What staff felt it appropriate to remove the references to trees and once again put them in the new section. So 17.96 is now just about open space. That leaves now just 17.98 to fully dedicate to the policies related to protected trees and the process that residents or others would need to go to if they want to go with tree removal. and the criteria that town staff must consider whenever faced with a tree removal permit request. And this criteria, there's 6 major points that town staff will consider whenever a permit is requested. First, it's the existing condition of the tree with respect to its health and whether it is a hazard if it causes any imminent danger. Also, the necessity of removing the tree to allow for reasonable use of the property. The age and the size of the tree, the effect that removal of the tree would have on soil erosion or other grading issues, and the number, species, size, and location of other trees in the area and how a potential removal of the tree would affect the urban forest, and also whether reasonable mitigation measures that would have reduced a structural defect in the tree can occur without removing the tree. Also established in that section are rules regarding the duty of care for protected trees and heritage trees, including the definition of what a protected tree is and the additional responsibilities that a property owner would have if a heritage tree is on his or her property. This also includes if any construction is occurring on that property, what extra care needs to be taken in order to protect that tree. So what staff is now asking the ZDRB to do is to conduct a discussion and provide staff with feedback on these 3 sections for tree preservation so that we may then adopt it or present to council for adoption. So, thanks.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cook?
Sure. I did not see a definition of how it's decided something is a heritage tree in this whole thing.
If you go to 17.98 in the definitions, you can go to protected trees, and that would be the new definition that we'd be doing. And there's 1, 2, 3.
1798 point.
It's
030
within the
under
definitions.
definitions, second page, right in the middle.
We actually have a definition for heritage tree, and that's a tree designated by the town council as a heritage tree. We have a heritage tree list, and so there are about 200 trees on that list. We've broken out protected trees into different categories, so now it includes heritage trees, but also native trees of a certain size, and other trees as well as if they're a certain size or larger.
But the definition just said a heritage tree is a tree on the list.
Yes, and so as it stands now, heritage trees are if they were on the survey that was conducted.
Okay.
Under these new revisions that we're suggesting for the revisions to the code, protected trees, one of the definition is a heritage tree. So if
Right,
it's on the heritage
right.
tree, it's protected.
So the heritage list doesn't change. It was established. They're on there. You have to
It'll
go and
be
check whether it's on there or
updated
not.
periodically, although it hasn't in the past been updated more often than every 10 years. So it really locks trees in time. And
Is
that's
it
why
generally
you
the
include
ones
other
that have the
trees.
tag on them with
Yes.
the number?
As it stands
Trees
now,
with the
yeah.
tag.
Okay. That part just wasn't very clear. I saw something that needed to be corrected in the definitions. In the definitions, under heritage tree, I think you've got 2 lines blended together.
Yeah,
That's just
it
a
needed
correction.
to
Okay,
be
you got
indented
that.
there.
Okay. I think I had one more. Oh, back where it says that you need to, if you place a replacement tree, under 1798.8 replacement trees, down under D, replacement trees, and then they'll have to be inspected. And if a tree dies, a new replacement tree shall be planted within 30 days. It's not always wise to plant in August or July, or is there some way? I mean, is that just, does it have to be written in stone? Can you guys make allowances if the tree is not well and needs to be removed and replanted?
Language can be included in there
To somehow
be
make
within
it-
30 days or within a reasonable
A planting season or
Yeah.
something like that, yeah. Just 'cause
I think we were
you would use a
considering
lot of
90
water.
days, which should get it outside that period. We'll go back.
You'd
and
have
look
to
at
water
and
it every
change
day if you needed
Yeah.
to plant it then.
Good point.
Okay. I think those were all my questions. Otherwise, it seems like it's a good clarification to separate those things and put them in the right places.
Thank you, Commissioner Cook. Commissioner Laz, any questions, thoughts?
Not right now.
Commissioner James?
Mine, pardon me, I have a few initial comments. I might have more. The first is highly supportive of this. I love trees, planted many at my own home, and have cared personally for more than one heritage tree. So first, trees planted in the public right-of-way or that overhang a sidewalk. It's not included in here, but it's my recollection there's a list of prohibited species. It includes black walnuts because they're so
It
slippery.
is in here. Yes.
I didn't see
It
it.
is.
I'm certain it still says then palms, parenthetically, most species. Let's
Yes.
define most species. I think we've recently, seen 2 palm trees,
That page right there.
planted, 2 large palm trees planted where it could be argued they overhang the public right-of-way. So I recommend that be defined, what actually species of palms are prohibited. Secondly, with respect to heritage trees, is there a mechanism in place whereby property owners are notified that they in fact have a heritage tree? And be given an opportunity to be made aware of all the different responsibilities that come with owning a heritage tree.
That's a good idea.
Once, like we mentioned, if it's on the survey, they'll see the tag on their tree. But if it's now one of the protected trees, they have those pretty much the same responsibilities as if one of the survey trees was on their property. And we could include.
One of the trees I've cared for, I used to live on the property and it's now next door to my home, is a heritage tree. And very few people I submit to you are going to understand why there's, a dog tag sized disc nailed to the tree with a number on it. Some people might get curious and ask. So I think we can recognize that property will change hands, but I would encourage the town to send out a mailing to everyone whose property contains a heritage tree. By the way, and you might include language that, if you can, we suggest you pass this along to any successors in interest. Ultimately, people have an affirmative duty to know what the laws are affecting their property, but
That's a great idea. I don't think most people know what those. They just think it's on a list. It doesn't mean any different
Just a
designation. So I think that's important.
with respect to tree protection plans, 17.96.100, I encourage you to add language saying that the tree protection plan must be reviewed and approved by the town arborist. As written, it says, yes, a certified arborist must prepare a TPZ, but there seems to end there. If we have civil improvement plans or architectural plans, there's a public authority looking at them to say, yes, this is satisfactory. As in any profession, there are varying levels of diligence brought to the task. Replanting, which is something we changed a couple of years ago, where we beefed up the standard for replanting. So, and one of the things that was added, this is 1798-80, was 24-inch box trees minimums. That last sentence, 1798-80A1, the minimum size for replacement of a heritage tree or native oak shall be 24-inch. Maybe that's clear enough that it could be multiple 24-inch box trees. Last comment for the moment or question, is there any language, perhaps I've overlooked it, where the mitigation planning can be off-site? So in my development work, I've frequently encountered where the mitigation requirement, there's simply not room on the property to plant 10 replacement trees. It makes sense to remove a tree and certainly to mitigate it. So rather than sometimes the in lieu of fee, it can make sense to find an off-site location. I think the ordinance should at least enable that option, whether it's going to one of the parks or some other public path, that with town approval, as I say, replacement trees are not necessarily required to be on site, particularly if it means you just get a bunch of trees planted together. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you very much. So is this the tree ordinance? What's the tree ordinance?
The new
All of
section.
it.
All of this will be the tree ordinance. So when I happened to be in the audience at the last meeting where the 2 trees came up. And a couple of the.
So those are private trees, so it's a new section.
Oh, correct,
1798.
correct. But a couple of the council members had commented that the tree ordinance was a little confusing. So this is the tree ordinance to move that
Correct,
forward.
yes.
Thank you. Okay. And because I was in the audience, do we need to explain more about the arborist? I mean, or who the town arborist is, or how to choose them? Because there was a lot of negative comments made in terms of the Stewart project because 4 different arborists were used. When at the same time, Mr. Stewart did step up and say our first choice was the town arborist, who had voiced concerns about the safety of the tree. So I don't know if you had stated it here, I'm sorry. I don't know if there should be, given the nature of that discussion, if that's not going to continue to happen again. And for everyone who says no, you'll find someone who says yes. I know you did get the section, which I'm trying to find, that you did say the town arborist will have the final say. I think you might need to say that in another place as well.
We've included that review authority in a couple places. And
Okay.
Based on.
Okay, good.
Member
Okay.
James's comment, we'll add it to the tree protection plan as well. And it's identified as the town consulting arborist since we don't have a town arborist.
Yeah. Okay, good.
On staff. But it was in response to that project.
Good.
And some of the flack we took in getting another opinion to support, at least to be able to analyze those other decisions.
Right. And then there was discussion because of the private, this second petition, because it was a private individual, about discussion about compensation with help for an arborist. Is that still in there at all? I didn't read it in here.
We
but
have a placeholder for it. We haven't included regulations for it. So we have a definition for a financial hardship.
Okay, good. All
That
right.
is something that we're struggling a little with, and we're going to need to include with more explicit standards as
Okay,
to what
good.
would qualify.
Okay, good.
I have a note here that
It just came up several
might
times.
follow through on that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. 17.98.04, the exceptions, if a permit's required. The first exception is a tree removal permit is not required if it's a hazardous tree, but then at the same time you say if there's no immediate danger, then you shall take mitigation. I just thought it was very confusing. I think it just needs to be straightforward. The other part about the mitigation would probably best be served in mitigation, but that was just my initial thought. And then there's one other thing in that said. After reading through this, I felt much more knowledgeable than when I was at the meeting. So, I mean, this is great. I guess that's it. That's it. Thank you. Any other further comments from the commissioners after
Yes.
further discussion? Commissioner Janes?
This is something I've said before, change the street tree to live oaks rather than the exotic Chinese pistache trees. Let's have a broadleaf evergreen. And secondly, I'll find it here in a minute, but I think the definition of tree removal or harm would be enhanced by including something that language to the effect of removing 1/3 of a tree's canopy. More than 1/3 of a tree's canopy should be presumptively considered to be killing the tree.
Well, let me run this by you. We have it in there under the term excessive pruning, and excessive pruning is defined as removing more than 1/3 of the functioning leaf and stem area.
That was fast that you got that in there.
So we provided a lot more definitions,
No.
and so definitions of terms are included in other definitions, and takes a little going back and forth.
Okay, no,
Okay.
outstanding.
Good.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
No, not me.
Good. I think this will clear up a lot of confusion. All right, then.
Good, thanks for your comments.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And with that being said, we are on to staff and board reports. Oh, Andy.
So we have a few things coming up in November, and I wanted to at least alert you to them and get your schedules if you're free. One is that we're hoping to have a joint meeting of the Town Council and the ZDRB on November 18th. So if you could let us know your availability for that. We're thinking maybe 2:30 to 5:30. It might be 3:30 to 5:30, and it's before the town council meeting on that evening. It's to review a couple things. We want to have Napa County Landmarks present their National Register nomination for this building. And that's been to the Historic Resources Ad Hoc Committee, but we want to take it to both groups to get the approval to submit that. We've also invited the Executive Officer of LAFCO to come and give a presentation on annexations. And then we wanted to give you an update on the status of each of the 3 ad hoc committees, what they've done and what work might need to be continued still. We do have a meeting October 27th of the ZDRB Bylaws and Authority Ad Hoc Committee. We've recently had one of the Historic Committee. So that's what we want to do on that evening, and hope you're available. You don't have to let us know tonight, but just to email us and let us know. The other thing is we're hoping to conduct a workshop of the draft circulation element on November 17th. That's a Monday. And we'd like the ZDRB to host that since you took over transportation-related issues when the TAC was disbanded. So we're looking at that date as well.
But you don't have a potential date for that.
It's the 17th. So this is the 17th and 18th of November, both of these items.
Okay.
I can tell you it will be exceedingly difficult for me to be here earlier than 6
Okay.
any day of the week.
Okay.
So for the joint meeting, I'm probably out.
On that note, would you prefer we just select a separate evening? We were trying to keep it to the same night, but if others feel that way, maybe it really deserves a different date entirely.
Well, Jason, Commissioner Scoggins not available on the 18th either, is he?
That's correct.
So we might want to look at another day.
Okay.
Did you say any day of the week? It's difficult if it's prior to 6.
Yes.
These are hard to schedule.
I know.
We will
They're
try.
really hard.
Thanks for input, though.
At least our paychecks will be really big for all the time we've been spending here.
There you go.
Really big.
Yes. Anything else from staff?
No, I don't really have anything else to share. But
Excellent.
happy to answer questions.
And the next meeting's not till December.
December 9th will be
Oh, right. November 11th falls on Veterans Day, so that's been canceled. If we get development applications in, we may reschedule that for November. Otherwise, it would be December 9th, as you mentioned.
Okay.
Any other questions? Then I will move we adjourn this meeting to our next scheduled meeting of December 9th, 2014. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.